mean, yeah, I think that that last comment, I don't mean to come off that way because I think you are right. I kind of brought it up on Twitter that the not-for-profit companies, there's not many in Twitter, and Thrill made the point that there's really not many making a profit. Anyway, that is completely valid. But we are talking a lot about the Oculus Quest, and I do want to let's get real here for a second. We talked about it on the debate, but I think the question was politely dodged, and it wasn't dodged on purpose. It was just no one has a true answer for it. What other options are coming other than Oculus Quest? I asked Six the question. What are developers going to do other than going to Oculus Quest? And I meant that earnestly. It's a real question, but let's be real. I want to hear from you. What the hell are the other options? Is there anything, or is the option right now, if you want to make money, is the Quest the only thing, and is nothing coming down the pipeline?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be completely straight up. We, through the end of this year, we're not going to be on any other headset. We've been approached by every other headset that's coming out, and a lot of, every single one offered to pay to port our game over, and give us sort of some upfront cash and stuff like that to make it fairly appealing. But when we started to get into like, okay, well, like what numbers are, what are the sales numbers that you guys are expecting? They are all a very small fraction of what we've seen on the Quest so far. So from that perspective, yeah, I mean, it's the only game in town by a large margin. We planned on porting over to Rift as well, but we talked to some other devs that have done it, and like, it's just not worth it. I know it sounds like when you're not, if you haven't done development, I know it sounds like, well, why don't you just do it? It's free money. They're going to port for you. Like, why wouldn't you just take the money? But the reality is, like, we care deeply about our community and our game and our support. And I'm not going to release a product that I haven't personally played all the way through and found every issue with, and like, kind of gets that seal of approval. Not to say that our game doesn't have any bugs, but to say that, like,
Trust
you
me,
know,
I've seen Ben Link's tweets to you, man. He's got plenty to say right now, doesn't he?
yeah, yeah. Well, hey, I'm glad he's playing it, so I'm not going to complain. I like the feedback. I like the feedback, and more importantly, I want to have the time to address that feedback because I fully appreciate the fact that VR is still very small right now. So it gives us the opportunity to really focus on sort of, quality over quantity, and just stay very focused on the one platform that makes the most sense instead of trying to spread ourselves too thin and then end up like, trying to triage issues across five different platforms. Um, so from a small dev perspective, having one platform to focus on is actually, I consider, a real benefit. And here's what I hope. Our plan for next year is to ideally, get the game working for PSVR 2 whenever that comes out. And, hopefully, if Apple headset comes out, our goal would be to get it onto Apple's headset. And if there's another headset that emerges that seems like it's got some potential, we'll definitely consider it. But in the meantime, for devs getting into VR, I do think, what we've seen and numbers that we've heard, the Quest is an order of magnitude, if not multiple orders of magnitude, beyond the next closest competitor.
Oh yeah, I mean, you look at the Steam numbers. I mean, 25% ish. I'm generalizing here. 25% ish percent Steam VR connected headsets or the Oculus Quest. I look at games that I personally very much enjoy. Population One is one of them. And you look on the Steam numbers. The last time I looked, specifically, whatever time of the night when I wanted to go play, there were 48 people, 48 online Steam VR. If 25% of those are Oculus Quest, connect to Steam VR. That's not including the ones who are possibly playing a virtual desktop. It's not. I understand where you're coming from a dev. There's no reason to work on the PC VR front, but you brought up at the beginning of this conversation. I know your history with mobile gaming, the Oculus Quest. It is mobile VR. It is definitely a backward step. I have no problem saying that. It is a backward step from PC VR, and I think it can be necessary at times. But from a developer standpoint, I have no idea about this. What's the ceiling on the current Quest 2 tech compared to what we have? So, for example, You look at Red Matter when it came to Quest 1, they did a few updates that dramatically increased the performance of it. Are we tapping in to the full potential of the Oculus Quest 2 right now? Is there a lot of room still to make these games people want? Or, unfortunately, is the mobile platform right now fairly tapped on that ceiling? Because I know Zuckerberg has talked about, and Abrash and all them, that maybe there's a pro coming, but we have a while. I think we have a couple years right now of this current model. What's the ceiling that we have to work with?
Yeah. So the Quest 2 is a massive step forward versus the Quest 1. But to put this all in perspective, if you, when you're developing, there are basically kind of two major thresholds, two major metrics that you want to look at to optimize your game to kind of figure out how far you can push it on the graphics front. And it's polygon count, triangle count, how many triangles you can actually put on the screen at once, and draw calls, which gets a little more complicated, but it's kind of the essential. Like you can group things that are a similar material, so it's like almost how many different materials can you have on the screen at once. And the Oculus Quest 1 was basically the equivalent to a GameCube in terms of performance, um, which is a 20-year-old console,
Hey man,
right?
I liked Luigi's Mansion, so let's not talk shit about
Oh
that.
yeah. No, it's a great console, but it's 20 years old. Uh, so that I think that kind of puts it in perspective. And oh, sorry, 1 second. Hey buddy, I'm on a YouTube. I'm on a call on YouTube. Do you mind if we hang out in a little bit? Let me go
I'll get him
find the
out of this
mama.
one, guys. Thank you, chat, for being part of this right now. And I will be
All
asking
good.
that
All good.
PSVR 2 question, so we'll get there. Don't
We're
worry.
good. Thank you for the breather. Yeah.
We'll give you a
My
walkout,
son.
man.
No, he's good. His mama came over. He loves
I feel like that's a
loves to
perfect
see what dad's
that's
up
like the
to.
perfect clip for COVID before. I mean, I know it's kind of ending now, ending, but all those news clips of kids walking in during the news.
Exactly. I was like, it's inevitable. Yeah, especially when I'm on headphones because he doesn't even hear. He's like, "Why are you talking to yourself, Dad?" But so basically, performance-wise, the Quest 2 is effectively 2 to 3 times that. So it's still, it's still extremely limited. And when you compare to like desktop level performance, I mean, it's like potentially desktops can probably push like tens of millions of polygons or triangles, and Quest 2's maybe a few 100,000, right? So it's a massive difference, and that's why a lot of the games, including ours, are fairly limited in terms of what we can display graphically. I will say that one of the challenges with kind of the Quest 2 coming out when it did, and the performance bump, is that up to this point, it hasn't been possible to release a game that only targets the Quest 2. I believe it was Resident Evil, or maybe it was a different one, that just announced that they were going to be Quest 2 only. And, we've been chatting with Oculus to see what the options are there. But, now that the Quest 2 has been selling significantly better than the Quest 1, and it's consuming the majority of usage, I think we are going to start to see more games that are tapping into the potential of the Quest 2. And I don't think very many games have truly pushed the limits because technically, in order to do it is actually it's quite a bit of work to kind of get it working well on the Quest 1 and push the limits of the Quest 2.
So, what
So I
would you
think once
say
we're
is the life cycle? What life cycle we're working on? I know a lot of people were frustrated with the life cycle between the Quest 1 to the Quest 2. It was pretty quick, admittedly.
yeah.
Some people I know just got the Oculus Quest 1 maybe a few months before the Oculus Quest 2 announcement, and I don't blame them because the Oculus Quest 1 wasn't super old at that point. Um, do you have any knowledge with Facebook or anything that what the current life cycle they're going for with the Quest 2? Is there something coming down the pipeline?
I don't, and if I did, I couldn't tell you, but I don't. um, but I think it's really important to recognize that we're still in the very early days of VR, and there's still stuff like uh, face tracking, eye tracking, feature tracking, resolution improvements, field of view improvements. There's still some pretty major things that could have a massive impact on the quality of a headset. So, if you go back to using your Quest 1 after using your Quest 2, it's like, holy shit, how did I think this was acceptable? Like the resolution and just the performance and everything. It's like, I mean, it's like night and day. And I'm pretty sure whenever the next headset comes out, we're going to feel similarly about the Quest 2. And, I think it's the same thing on mobile when you went from the iPhone 3G to the 3GS to the 4 to the 4S. Every single new one just makes the old one, kind of look super dated. And I really hope that we keep up a pretty quick, you know, I hope that we see new hardware pretty quick, because up until we hit the point where it is mainstream, it could frankly be like just a little bit of hardware away. I mean, I think once the resolution increases a little bit, we're seriously talking screen replacement and monitor replacement, and like this now becomes a utility, and this is what you write your emails on, and watch movies on, and read your news on. And like the Quest 2 is already pretty close. It's definitely possible, but it's not quite there. I think within a couple iterations we could be there, and then it really goes from kind of being this toy to being like a real utility. So my hope is that we do see hardware as fast as possible. I know it's not ideal for people buying the hardware and not wanting to upgrade every cycle, but as we saw with mobile, like the yearly release of the iPhone just became something that you come to expect. It was they didn't really miss a beat. They set the tone, and I think it really pushed the whole field forward versus consoles, where it's like you can wait 4 or 5 years between console updates, and it just I don't know, it's just not as compelling.
Hit that subscribe button to stay on top of the daily clips, or catch the debates and fireside chats live on the main channel down in the video description. See you next time, Space Cowboys.